How can a content creator with fewer than 10,000 followers make nearly $70,000 in a calendar year while working a full-time job? The answer is with a strategy switch up, a lot of late nights, and no social life. Not that I really had one to begin with, but we're gonna break it all down a little further. Hello and welcome back to Creating with Kea, where I share all the tips and tricks and work that goes into being a content creator, influencer / blogger, which I am under the handle Comfy Girl Curls. Last year really changed my life. I made just under $70,000 on my side hustle, which was the confidence boost I needed to take content creating full time. Yes, you're looking at a freshly full-time content creator. We're 3 months in, guys. While I know there are a lot of people out there with my same following count or less who make way more than I do, I also know that there are people out there with triple, quadruple, sextuple my following who haven't made $1 yet. So I wanted to share all the ways that I believe I managed to pull in that income in the hopes of shining a light on all of the work that went into it and hopefully help anybody out who is looking to monetize their online presence. Starting with the first thing that I attribute to my income glow up, so to speak. We'll actually call it number 0 in this list because it is so foundational and actually begun in 2020 for me. And that's that I got serious. At the start of the year, I decided that I was going to make money. That's when I started approaching it as a business, and I went from making $0 to $10,000. I sat down and built out income and expense spreadsheets. I did research on taxes. I tried to figure out everything I needed to do to legitimize what I was doing as a business. I also looked into all of the different ways I could make an income. I signed up for more affiliate programs. I installed Ezoic to get more ad revenue on my website, and I made a list of brands that I was going to start pitching. In doing this, I strongly believe that I subconsciously set myself up for success with a mindset shift. So all of that helped me lay the groundwork to start making money, but what had me jumping from 10,000 to 70? I started getting more and higher paying brand deals, 99% of which were inbound, meaning I didn't have to pitch anybody. And I attribute it to these 10 things. Number 1, I got consistent, but not the buzzword type of consistent. I didn't have a perfect schedule. I still don't. I wasn't posting X times a day or even X times a week. I was simply creating content at a more regular interval. If making a strict content creation schedule works for you, that's amazing. But I'm realizing my brain doesn't work that way. In order for me to stay consistent, I really tried to batch create my content. So if I already had makeup on, I would try to shoot as much as I possibly could. And then I would just post whatever I had as I felt like it. All while being careful not to put too much pressure on myself to post every single day or at a specific time every day. I feel like that's the fastest route to burnout. 2, I invested more in my business. 2021 was the year of splurging on Comfy Girl Curls. I spent a lot on my business because I had already shown to myself that I could make money doing what I was doing. Now, I'm not saying you should go and buy a gajillion new things. When people say you can create content with your phone, they're not lying. But if you want to run a business, you should always be looking at areas for improvement. Whether it's systems, software, gear, you want to be looking at how you can save more money, save more time, or improve your quality or caliber to set you apart from your competitors. So I bought new camera lenses, I invested in TubeBuddy, I bought an Artlist subscription. Every single thing I invested in helped me level up. Number 3, I worked really hard. And I mean that more as a word of caution than of something I would advise somebody else to do. I've lost count of how many times I've been asked how I balanced content creating with my full-time job. And every time I've been asked, I respond with the same answer: not well. It's not the healthiest, but my mindset last year was really Netflix? Who is she? Social life? Don't know her. I still protected some aspects of my personal life, like family time on Sundays and regular date nights with Darren. But overall, when I wasn't working at my day job, I was working for myself. I took vacation time to shoot gigs. I would take business meetings on my lunch breaks. On multiple occasions, I stayed up till 3 a.m. trying to edit content for brand partnership deadlines. Working nonstop is unfortunately what enabled me to put out more content and take on more brand deals. I know there's gotta be more sustainable ways to do it, but it was my reality, and it's ultimately why I decided to quit my day job. I needed a little bit of balance back. Number 4, moving more into my content creating strategy, I diversified my content further, branching out into new topics or categories. And yes, niching down is incredibly valuable. But my hot take is that if you want to build a personal brand around yourself as an individual, you need to step outside of the box a bit. And there's a lot of reasons for this. Some niches don't pay that well. Natural air. And if you're anything like me, being locked in a box is a one-way ticket to existential dread, burnout, and a creative rut. So I started by documenting and sharing more of me and my interests online. I started sharing skincare products as I learned to better care for my skin. I shared my desire to start taking care of myself more and ended up with brand partnerships with vitamin companies and a local gym. The more aspects I've begun to share about myself, the more different brand partnership opportunities seem to arise. And from a personal perspective, I felt like I was able to be more creative. Number 5, I focused more on diversifying my platforms. Especially as a small influencer, it's important to build up your reach on multiple platforms. Because sure, last year I had fewer than 10,000 followers, but I had a couple hundred on YouTube, a few thousand on TikTok, several thousands on Pinterest, and then I had my blog attracting new readers every single day. All of that together amplified my reach and made me more appealing to brands. And I know creating for all of these platforms can seem so overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be. Instead of focusing on creating something brand new for each platform, I focused more on strategically repurposing my content, especially leaning harder into Pinterest, which brought me close to $20,000 in revenue last year. Next, I pitched the value of these different platforms to brands. In entering brand negotiations, I found time and time again that they were a little bit clueless on this one, and so I was happy to lead the way. Whenever I got an email pitch from a brand wanting to work with me, I would plug my other platforms and the value of creating content on them as add-ons. Want long-term brand awareness? Let's partner on a blog post and add in some Pinterest pins. Next, I started increasing my rates at regular intervals. I started being hyper aware of how negotiations were going. Were brands challenging my number? Did I feel like I was being paid my worth? Did I feel like the work I was putting in matched up to my compensation? If the answer was ever no, I made the conscious decision to increase my rates the next time around. And if you want to hear my entire thought process around rate setting, check out this video here. Number 8, last year I also got better at negotiating. I started standing my ground, not being afraid to walk away from a partnership that didn't want to meet me in the middle. I got better at articulating the value I had, and I begun charging for exclusivity and digital usage rights. Number 9, I started getting more repeat and long-term partnerships. I truly think this is key to being a full-time content creator. So there's 2 main ways to achieve this. You can go back and pitch your past brand partnerships for another collaboration. When it comes to pitching, I think that is a way better strategy than trying to contact somebody that you have no relationship with. Then there's number 2, which has been my experience, getting the brands to ask you for a repeat partnership or a long-term deal. And this truly just comes down to being an absolute joy to work with. Whenever I do partnerships, I try my absolute best to go above and beyond. Maybe that's adding an extra story slide. Maybe that's adding some extra photos for the carousel or for the brands to use. It's sending over a branded campaign summary that includes your stats and screenshots of some notable DMs you got in response to your stories. It's doing something to set you above and apart from the other creators in the campaign so that when they get more budget or want to do another campaign in the future, you are top of mind. And finally, at the start of last year, I actively started engaging my peers, other content creators. Content creating can feel like a very isolating journey. We're sitting alone, we're talking to our cameras, and it's very likely that the people in our everyday lives have no idea how any of this works. So it's important to go out and find your people who get this work, its weird quirks, the frustrations. Personally, I started showing up very regularly on Clubhouse. I don't think it's the same there anymore though. And I also started being present in Facebook groups, which are honestly still alive and thriving. Not only did this help me stay sane, it helped me realize the gaps in my rates and helped me start charging my worth. It's impossible to know industry standard for something if you're not connected to anybody in the industry. I also found that this exposed me to more opportunities. Get yourself some friends that are mentioning you in rooms that you've yet to walk into, and do the same for your friends. And if you're considering getting into content creating and none of this scared you off, Watch this next. And I appreciate you guys so incredibly much because without you as my community, I wouldn't be here. Until next time.